where all opinions matter.
All right, we hot.
Yo, man, what's up?
What's to it?
Man, the holiday season, and around this time, it's the best time to talk about sports too, man. You got everything going on, right?
Everything cracking right now.
Got the NCAA basketball, got football, you know what I mean?
Right now.
NBA basketball, NFL.
See, since you brought up NFL and why it's so fresh, I know we got some other things we want to talk about, but and since you're the NFL guy and the crew, what's to it with your Bears? They pulled it out.
Hey man, they pulled that game out last night, and I was super happy. It put you in a good mood. Obviously I'm a super Bears fan. That's
Right.
my team through and through.
Right.
Been super disappointed this year, just like everybody else, right?
Right.
I ain't gonna lie. Like a couple weeks ago, hey, I had the whole team fired. Mitchell Trubisky trash. Matt Nagy, he need to be fired. Worst coach. Ryan Pace, the general manager, just clean house. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was super disappointed. But the last couple of weeks, man, gave me some hope. Mitchell last night, man, looked like a viable NFL quarterback. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize right now. I'm going to say this. I'm not going to apologize because they're playing like trash. Mitchell Trubisky has been having a terrible, terrible year.
Right.
But what I will apologize for is I really just counted the dude out. I had said, and I was telling people, like, I just don't think that this dude has the tools to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
Period. Doesn't have any pocket presence. Can't read defenses. He just doesn't know what to do. It seems like he doesn't know what to do on any given play. When you're doing run pass options, he always making a wrong call. It's ridiculous. So I really counted the dude out, but watching him over the last couple of weeks, he's shown a lot of, what you might call, man, moxie, man. A lot of resilience.
Yeah.
I know he's been hearing what we've been saying about this dude, right? But it hadn't seemed to really phase the dude over the last couple of games. I'd like to see that. That means that he's got some resilience. That means that he's headstrong and he can kind of fight through some situations. And over the last couple of weeks, he's kind of proven some people wrong. I hope he can remain consistent.
So I mean, what do you think did that to him? What was it the teams that they were playing? Did they? Because again, I didn't watch a lot of the games. I seen some of them.
Yeah.
When I say a lot of the games, I mean like a whole game. Like Thursday was the first time I literally sat down and watched the whole game.
Right.
And to see that Mitchell Trubisky can't be the one everybody was talking about prior in the beginning of the season. So
right.
what do you think it was that flipped the switch in this dude?
Well, okay. So last year he had a pretty good year as a quarterback. He seemed like he would be able to make some progress under Matt Nagy. So we was hoping to see more growth this year. And we just didn't see it. So as the year went on and watching him play, and just kind of listen to the media,
right.
We ain't in the locker room, we ain't in the field room, we don't know what's going on in practice, right? But in watching him play, it's like, okay, this dude just can't get the playbook. Matt Nagy is a creative offensive play caller. He probably got a complex playbook, and this guy's just not smart enough to get it, right?
Right.
But then as the season went on, I started really thinking about is that it? Because last year he was doing fine. But what was he doing last year? He was using his legs. He's a mobile type dude. He's got to kind of be able to move around. He's not a traditional pocket dude.
Right.
He got to be able to roll out. Mostly rolling out to his right, and he can make some things happen, extend some plays, things like that. You didn't see none of that this year. The man wasn't running or anything. I know he got hurt a little bit. He did separate his shoulder or whatever he did several weeks into the season. I forgot what week it was, but I don't think he was running early, and really doing what he needed to do or what he was doing last year.
Right.
So I think Matt Nagy had to come back and maybe allow this dude to be who he is. And now, after the last couple of games, I think it was probably Matt Nagy, man. I think it was probably him trying to make Mitch Trubisky into the quarterback that he wanted him. Hey, you got to be a pass first quarterback, stay in the pocket. But Mitch Trubisky is an instinctual player.
Okay.
And some of these players, man, you can't mold them into what you want to make them into. You got to kind of try to utilize their skills and then balance, what you want to do with the skills that they have. Because you're not going to create a Deshaun Watson or, somebody that can make the decisions like Deshaun and stand in the court, stand in the pocket and do what he need to do. And Deshaun is mobile. Mitchell Trubisky is not that.
He's not that guy.
Yeah, really I'm blaming Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
At this point, as I continue to evaluate the season, and I think Matt Nagy probably went back to what they was doing last year. What makes this dude successful? He's been doing a lot more running over the last couple of games. If you watched the Detroit game, if you watched the game last night, he looked like, Mitch Trubisky or flashes of what we saw last year. So Matt Nagy's problem.
Dope. So I guess because again, I don't watch it, but I hear everybody's talking about it all the time, and Mitch been getting a bad rap, but it seemed like last night when things were a little more simplified, that he got comfortable early, and then he was able to do some things, and he seemed to get in a little rhythm or whatever they call it when you play quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. Now that being said, they won yesterday, and they're in the division with the Packers, right? Who else? Minnesota. Those are the two teams in front of them, right?
Exactly.
And so, do they have any chance to make the playoffs?
Statistically, they still in it, but very small chance. I think if they lose against Green Bay next week, you can basically count them out. They'll have like a 1% chance. If they win next week, they'll have like an 11, 12% chance or something like that. And then it goes up from there. But this is kind of a murderer's row, man. The Bears put themselves in this position. But I'm more confident that they can win a couple of these games, or maybe all of them now, more so now than I was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so really it's almost impossible. I mean, Minnesota basically has to lose their games and the Bears have to win their games. And then the last game is actually against Minnesota.
Against Minnesota.
Yeah.
So it's just, they have a chance, but
it's a slim chance.
Slim chance.
Very slim chance.
Yeah, and you know this as my brother. I'm not a big old NFL fan because I rarely get a chance to watch it, but I do pull for the Bears. And I got to tell you, after last season, I was excited about watching or catching some games this year, but they disappointed me early, and I lost all kind of whatever faith or hope I had in an NFL team. I lost.
They'll make you do that, man. Of course, man, and especially when you talk about you like a casual NFL fan, but somebody that's 100% Chicago, you want to be behind the Bears, whether you watch NFL football all the time or not. That's our team, right? But any casual fan watching, they go tune out. You know what I'm saying? After the first. Well, I would say, they went 3-1 in the first quarter of the season, right? But after that, super trash. If you watch, through the next 4 games, and you tuned out.
All the way.
Ridiculous.
I wasn't even trying to catch any of it.
They'll lose a casual fan for sure. I just been in it so long, man.
Yeah.
I've only seen one championship. In all the years that I've been watching in my entire life, I would like to see some more championships, man.
But you bring that up about both of us. We were very young when I was about 10 or 11. You was around the same age. We're not that far, and as young fellas, I remember even like riding the school bus. We were singing the Super Bowl Shuffle on the way to school. And we were so hyped, but now I seen something the other day that said that some people say that's the best NFL team ever.
If you I mean, compare him to any other team. I think defensively, the '85 Bears, man, were the greatest defensive team that I've seen. In all the years that I've been watching football, and we've seen some really good defensive team. The Ray Lewis, Baltimore Ravens. You saw the Bucks. You've seen some really good defenses over time, but not like them, man. I mean, they allowed 10 points in 3 games during that playoff run that year.
Right, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Who did they beat? They beat the Rams
with Eric
Goose Egg, right? With Eric Dickerson. They beat the Giants, I believe. Goose Egg. Now, the Super Bowl was like 46 to 10?
46 to 10. I think that was the score. Yeah.
These guys scored 10 points, right? They just put up 46 points. And the thing with that team is, I want to say, and I had to go back and look at the stats.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the defense. The defense was incredibly dominant. But Jim McMahon and that offense was a really good offense. They're probably top 5 offense in the league. People just don't give them credit
because of that defense.
Because the defense was so dominant. Yeah. But that's what made that team just completely unstoppable. They had that letdown against, I think it was the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
That year. They were supposed to go undefeated. I don't even know how that happened.
I remember watching that game. It was a Monday night game. And me and my brothers, we were so excited watching the game. We were devastated when they lost that game. Mm-hmm. It's like we were blessed to see that team. It was just like watching when we grew up watching the Bulls, right? Die-hard Bulls fan, of course.
Right.
And it's like anytime they lost the game, we were devastated. It was unbelievable. So I remember talking to you about Khalil Mack when the Bears first got him, and I remember saying, Ray, is this dude worth what they give him? You said absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Although, people might try to debate me or challenge me on this year because Khalil Mack hasn't played or been as dominant as he was last year. You saw this guy without any training camp come in that first game, man, and just dominate. Right? And he dominated the entire season. Sack, strip sack, fumble, recover, whatever he had to do. This year has been different, and I don't know why he's not that dominant, but I attribute it to really the injury of Akeem Hicks. Now, Akeem Hicks, right, is one of the most dominant defensive linemen in the NFL and probably extremely underrated because Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Is there, but having Akeem Hicks in the middle, he taking up, a couple of guys, and he's freeing up Khalil Mack to be able to do what he want to do. Now these other guys are serviceable. You throw in Eddie Goldman or Bilal Nichols, these type of guys. They're serviceable, but they're not Akeem Hicks, and I think we're really seeing. Sort of the result of this dude not being there, man, the impact of Akeem Hicks. But he back next week though.
Yeah, because I was when I was watching the game Thursday, and when they mentioned him not being there, of course I'm just not up on it. And I was like, well, that gives defenses opportunities to pay more attention to Khalil Mack now. But he's still a force. Yeah. He's still like that tackle at the end of the game.
Yeah.
With the foot tackle is what I call it. It was crazy how he ran that guy down.
Absolutely, and it's just the guy, man. If he can make 1 or 2 impactful plays in the game, those are game changing plays when he makes them.
Right.
The stuff that he does, none of the stuff sort of. How like say in the league, somebody could score 35 points, but it could be like a meaningless 35 almost. You know what I mean? But like it almost like everything that this dude does, the any sort of all the plays. I mean, even stuff that you don't see, like that don't come up in the stats. Taking on a couple guys, freeing up other guys, just kind of All I need him to do is wreak havoc. I don't need him to be a stat stuffer. I need him to be chaotic.
Exactly. Yeah, and when he does, I call them moments. And we'll get to this a little later with LeBron James. It's a great player. Stats galore. But I don't know how many moments he has in his bag. You know what I mean? Like, how many like defining things that we've been so privileged to see Michael Jordan and even Kobe Bryant do over their career, where they have like these defining moments in times where that moment changed or shifted a series, or like you just say, like Lil with a strip sack where he may have not had any tackles or 3 tackles in the game, but the strip sack that he does changes the entire game.
Yeah, exactly. It just comes at those very opportune times, just impact.
Yeah, just seizing those moments. Before we start talking about this NFL stuff though, and we talked about it a little bit in the barbershop, but what this guy with the helmet,
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, yeah, that guy. Like what I know we talked about it initially, and I know it's kind of fading away now, but I wanted to get your take on record, because listen, I just so happened to turn to the game as it was happening.
Right.
And like initially, you just say, I was watching it with my wife, and initially you just like, this guy's crazy.
Right.
But then when you watch replay and you see everything that happened, on the bottom of the scuffle with what's the other guy's name?
Man, why am I blanking on this quarterback's name?
Oh man.
But exactly.
Well, yeah, and
I understand what you said. So if you watch that, it was a scuffle, stuff going on, man. It's a bit of a scrum, because Myles Garrett just decides to lay on the dude, right?
Right.
Now he antagonizing, but that's what NFL players.
I mean, like historically, that's what defensive players do to your quarterback when he's on the ground, right?
Exactly. So, tempers flare. Myles Garrett, a big dude.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So tempers flare, man. Myles say, dudes, kind of, being rough with him, get off me, pushing, doing whatever, right? Calling, said he said something to him, made a verbal, assault, said, I don't know, I don't even know exactly what he said.
Yeah. Some sort of racial slur
or something. I don't know exactly what he did. But regardless, this dude down there, they kind of, got into it with each other. He get up now, they heated.
Right.
Now you got this little dude, Mason Rudolph, coming at Myles Garrett. This is a big dude. Right now, he done basically lost his mind. And that's what I was saying. Like, I think that, and I really noticed to be true, like when you playing, in that environment, man, in the NFL, you have moments where you're just full of adrenaline. You have moments where you just almost lose your mind. Now, you can't assault somebody. You've got to have self-control. Don't get me wrong. But people do things that, are emotional, right? They act with emotion. And that's what he did. He didn't consider, what he was doing.
Exactly. I'm going to take a moment and think.
Yeah, and I'm going to kill this guy with my helmet. He's not thinking that. He's not trying to, assault this guy and put him in the hospital and all that. It just, I'm sure that just happened because he got that heated. He's full of adrenaline. He did that. Now, when you look at it, you're like, dang, now if he hit that guy, right away, as big as he is, and he could have really messed this guy up, gave him brain damage, whatever, right? He already pulled the guy helmet off, pulled him up by his head, Mason Rudolph pulled him up by his helmet, snatched the helmet off, you know what I'm saying? He go beat the man up with his own head. Okay, come on, man. You can't do that, Myles. Right. But when people start talking about he should be locked up, for assault and battery. Yeah. And all this, hey man, this is the NFL. I grew up during the time of the NFL where it was almost like anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Went. People, the cats was so vicious. Like during the time we was coming up, in the '80s, guys spearing guys, slamming guys on their necks, man,
man.
stepping on them, grinding their, cleats into, I mean, just all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, we want to clean up the game, don't get me wrong, but you just can't say that on the field, these guys are just jacked up all game, and they make a bonehead. Nobody got hurt ultimately.
Exactly.
And as long as there's some sort of contrition, maybe you get a guy a couple games. But when you talk about, locking a guy up and suspending him for the rest of his career, that's ridiculous.
I think my wife said it like this when she heard someone say like this. I think she said, "What are you, a nincompoop? Like you've never seen a police officer come in to arrest a guy after a technical foul or a flagrant foul. So why if a guy who's on a football field does something dumb like hit somebody with a helmet? No, you just kind of take him out the game. Her words, suspend him.
Right.
That was the thing. I thought it was pretty crazy with guys just like suggesting things like that, like in the moment. Like have sort of a conversation with yourself to say think about what you're saying before you, especially as a black man, going on television. Talking about putting another black man.
Yeah, that somebody should be arrested.
Yeah, that somebody should be arrested. Talking about he's so aggressive and all of this. And like you said, I mean, the sport and the position, I think, it comes with the territory. Guys are amped up, like you say. You're playing football,
right,
in the NFL. So it's
the media. I mean, they just. Sometimes, man, they lose their minds. I think they get wrapped up in these situations and they get emotional. Everybody trying to, make a point or whatever. But hey, guys, you guys got a responsibility. Think about the environment and think about what you're saying.
Right.
Come on, man. This is sports, guys.
It's sports.
So I really took offense to that. Because you never want to see that. Like I said, hey man, let them know that you can't do that. If you want to make an example, suspend a guy for a couple games. Hey man, you can't do that. Fine him. But this whole indefinite thing, and I gotta meet with the commissioner.
Yeah, that was.
We don't know about next year. All this crap, man. Come on, man.
I thought it was a lot.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I'm gonna tell you what though, I am rooting for. Is his name Lamar Jackson?
Oh man, yeah, me too, man.
Like, it's must watch television, and I want them to win the Super Bowl.
The dude is, I don't know, man. I know people don't like to make the compare, but the only other player that I've seen that was sort of that. Electric and that could do it was Michael Vick. People don't remember how strong an arm Mike Vick had and how much of an athlete that dude was. Mike Vick was one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah.
And then when I see this kid Lamar Jackson, man, from what we're seeing now, he may be. If he can stay healthy, man, he could be better than Michael Vick.
If he stays healthy, yeah, because one thing about that I see from this kid, and I heard him talk about it the other day, is just how hard he works, how hard he wants to work, how much better he wants to get. So these sort of things that I hear him mentioning over and over again, what I hear him rehearsing, with him wanting to be better in this game, it only excites me because I think that he's on that type of path, barring any injury, to continue to electrify us at the quarterback position.
I think so, and I think he can. Well, people always, and it's true to some extent. A lot of people say, well, he's running quarterbacks, man. He gonna get hurt. You can't last in the NFL, right? We've seen, again, quarterbacks have a long career that play that way here. I mean, they are more prone. To injury, right? These big dudes in the NFL, man. Everybody's lightning fast. Everybody's super athletic, more athletic than any other time,
right,
in our history.
Exactly.
Bigger, faster, stronger. Everything.
All right. Sports. Everybody's bigger. Everybody's faster.
Right. So I mean, every time you get hit, man, on that football field, it's like a train wreck, man, to your body. So. he's exposed as a quarterback. We've seen, say if you look at Cam Newton. Now Cam Newton's had some great years. He's had some success. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's got an MVP, right? He can run, he can pass. But what's happened to Cam Newton, right? Nobody knows, right? Have these injuries caught up with him,
right?
At this point, right? Trash, this year, clearly hurt, right? Can Cam Newton, come back and be, anywhere near himself,
right?
In the future, and we'll see. But see, that's the type of stuff that people talk about, because Cam Newton has taken a lot of hits.
Yeah.
In his career, and that was a whole thing, a couple of years ago with, he was not getting the roughing the passer calls, like
because of the type of player he was,
right?
Yeah.
The type of player, he's super big, super fast, strong, and when he rolled out, he treated him like a runner, man, and he getting lit up.
Yeah.
So. Lamar has to be aware of that, but one thing I see with these quarterbacks, even starting with like Cam Newton, these guys, man, you can't put them in this box and say, hey, man, he's just running quarterbacks. These guys, man, are super smart.
Exactly.
Pocket guy. They're just athletic.
They just happen to be athletic.
Exactly, but they read defense as well. They can stand in the pocket, go through reads, do everything that any other quarterback can do. But they also have the athleticism to create, extend plays, make big plays with their athleticism, and that's just something that's they have to have a balance with. But you got to use it. When you got that gift, man. What are you going to do? How can you go suppress that?
You can't suppress it. And I'm excited to see. I love watching quarterbacks that way who have those type of tools. It just makes them weapons.
Yeah.
And unstoppable. But I do remember with the Cam Newton stuff when he couldn't get a rough in the passer call because of his size and all that kind of stuff. But I'm excited to see what happens in the NFL. And if our Bears don't show us a miracle, which I don't think they will. I'm pulling for them Ravens, brother.
Oh, 100%. And they're the AFC too, man.
Yeah.
I certainly don't want to see the Patriots. Well, I want to see the Ravens dominate. And if not the Ravens, man, I still like the Chiefs. I like this kid Patrick Mahomes, man. I think I've always been.
We passed them up too, right? The Bears passed them up too.
Yeah, of course. For Mitch Trubisky. Let me call him Mitchell Trubisky because that's what his mom likes us to call him.
He likes us to call him Mitchell.
Mitchell, exactly.
Whatever.
But exactly. So Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
I give him one on Mahomes because nobody really, he wasn't on the radar as much as a guy like Deshaun Watson, who had been to the national championship twice in a row, against the same team, burned the team both times. He just lost one, but he won the other one, right?
Yeah.
He dominated, on a national stage. We saw everything that Deshaun Watson can do. Mitch Trubisky played like 13 games for North Carolina in the ACC, man. That can't be your pick, number one. But Stro, since he's on my team, man,
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But let's move on a little bit. I know you and I talked about a little bit about these kids and about sort of this debate with LeBron and with Mike. I'm not gonna even bring my man Kobe in.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I shouldn't say how, because that's gonna happen eventually.
Right.
But I had a conversation. I got a cousin that lives in Texas, and he's probably in his 30s. And like every time I have a conversation with this guy, he always brings up LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me set the record straight first by saying that I think LeBron James is an incredible basketball player.
Right.
I think he's generational.
Right.
I think his physical prowess over everyone else has never been seen, and I don't know if it'll ever be seen again.
Right.
With his speed, his athleticism, his intelligence on the floor.
Right.
But my criticism, and you know this, but the world is going to know now, has always been like, and I think other analysts share this with me, is just that LeBron James does not like to step up in those moments that we talked about earlier. Like, he is not a clutch guy. And I think too, I don't know where he is mentally at that time, but I do know that I've never seen LeBron James, and I don't know if LeBron will ever hear this podcast,
Right.
but he doesn't have any go-to moves. He's super random, and he's super tight down the stretch. Like, people can say, and they can say whatever they want to say, but LeBron James has championship rings because of two guys, Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving.
Right. I agree with you. So let me say, I think LeBron James is one of the greatest players we've ever seen.
Ever.
Probably the most physically gifted player we've ever seen. If you wanna like build a basketball player, like make a basketball player
on a video game, that's what you make.
You'll build LeBron James.
You making
right?
that.
And like you said, just one of the players, very high IQ player, all of that. But when people the whole Mike debate though,
it's crazy.
You gotta leave LeBron sort of where he is in this era and say, hey, if you want to say LeBron's the most dominant player,
right now doing his tenure,
then say that, right?
Yeah.
But don't necessarily go back and compare him to the greatest ever. We want to do that, but these are two different players, and I think you just mentioned this. What separates Michael Jordan and LeBron James is just the mentality,
period.
Right? The mentality,
the approach.
The approach that you see, some like Kobe have, right?
Yes.
That
Allen Iverson,
Black Mamba for a reason.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan for a reason, because these guys, would almost die before they lost.
Period.
Right?
Yeah.
They gonna put the game, and they gonna take the game and put the game in their own hands every time out.
Each and every time.
If we gonna lose this game, it's gonna be basically because of me. I'm gonna make or miss. Now, everybody talk about, Michael Jordan kicking out the curve, kicking out the pack, whatever. Okay, did that. That was the right play at the time. But that's rare.
It's super rare, and I think too, Ski is from a different disposition though. It like the only reason that he would make that pass with Pax in '91. And with, Pax also hit a big shot in the Phoenix series.
Right.
And then with Kerr against Utah Jazz at the United Center, is because the team totally collapsed on them because he had been destroying them most of the game. And Mike, he pointed these things out to these guys on the bench.
Right.
This isn't nothing that happened randomly.
Right.
He says, look, Steve, look for this. He's going to come off you, and you knock it down.
Right.
Right? And you do that, but see, like, I didn't feel the same way that I felt when the Cavaliers were playing the Boston Celtics, who they were dominating.
Right.
But there was one game in particular in the series. I can't remember the exact situation or the game or whatever, but I do know, like, down the stretch, it was a close game. And LeBron James was guarded by Kelly Olynyk, or whatever, however you say his name, 3 possessions in a row.
Right.
This is a 7-foot. His athleticism is so primary when it comes to yours.
Right.
And you passed off three times in a row.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Right.
Same thing. You and I, we've talked about this before. The same thing when when in his last finals against the Golden State Warriors, when they go into overtime, when the bonehead move by whoever Josh Smith, J.R. Smith. And everybody that watches basketball knew that was a bonehead play.
Right.
But when you had been literally dominating this entire game. This game was very important. If you win this game, the series may be different. You're dominating games. You're hitting every shot. You're hitting your free throws.
Right.
The ref will give every call. You're making the right passes.
Right.
And then you're playing a great team. You're overmatched.
Right.
But I'm saying to myself, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Here's a moment, And so he comes down, going to overtime, and he panics. And he scores 50 points in the game, or something like that. But he scores like 1 or 2 points in overtime. He takes like 2 shots.
Right, because again, when we talk about, it's that mental toughness.
Yeah.
And it's saying, hey, he lost it. When J.R. Smith did that, the game was over. The game was over because LeBron lost it. Now you going into overtime, right? Okay? It's still a game.
The game's still
you dominated all game.
That's right.
Hey, man, you got to take every shot you have to. Number one, you're 6'9", 250 pounds. If you go to the cup, you got to score.
Or they go foul you.
Or they go foul you, bro. Put you on the line, man.
Yeah.
But I'm doing whatever I can. But that's that dog. That's that killer.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's what LeBron James, in my opinion,
mine as well. That's what he lacks. He does not have this sort of killer instinct. So when I'm having a conversation with my cousin, he's like, you're gonna tell me that LeBron James is under Michael Jordan? I said LeBron James is under Kobe, in my opinion. I said, and it's only because, like, when you get to that sort of all-star level, you have to be incredibly meticulous.
Right.
Incredibly meticulous.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, I am not a LeBron James hater. He's a great guy. He's a great player.
Right.
But if I'm going to be true to myself as an analyst of the game, or somebody who, breaks down games, those are his only flaws, and you see them. He's Michael says all the time, he's the biggest front runner in the history of the game.
Right.
If he has somebody that gets it going,
right.
he's gonna roll. He's gonna roll.
You saw it against Golden State.
Yes, sir.
When Kyrie started dominating.
That's it.
Right.
Now LeBron
is unstoppable.
Unstoppable now.
Right.
On both ends of the floor.
Right. I was happy to see it. I'm rooting for Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it took another dog.
Right. That's right.
Right? Because Kyrie a dog.
He is. Period.
Okay.
Hands down.
I mean, he's like one of these guys, man. He want that. He want the ball.
He want it.
Last shot is in my hand.
You know.
But Mike is right when he talks about, to me, that sort of that front runner, mentality. Because when the chips are down, he's not the guy to give you that spark. I don't think. Now I think improved a bit in that area as time goes on.
Because of the criticism.
And
he's maturing. And the thing is, it's like, I'm rooting for LeBron James because I love basketball, and anybody around me knows that I never root for the underdog. I root for the star. Right? And you want to experience a guy like LeBron James dominate. I've been following LeBron since probably a sophomore in high school.
Right.
So you getting this, I'm like, oh, he's going to come to the NBA. He's going to destroy people.
Right.
And then you watch him, and then that great series against Detroit when he gets destroyed in the finals against San Antonio, everybody expects that.
Right.
But you, as a fan, or a fan of the game, you're like, oh man, this guy's getting ready to take off.
Right.
And then he went through whatever he went through in Cleveland. I think that the management worked good enough to put people around him.
Yeah.
But I saw something today, a graphic today that someone put up, and it had a list of all-stars that Kobe and LeBron James played with, and who Mike played with, players that made the All-Star team that he has. And so it was something like 15 All-Star games with LeBron James teammates, something like 12. I may be having those two mixed up, but one was 12, one was 15. Michael Jordan's was 6, and they were all Scottie Pippen.
Right.
So I think people, they don't take in account, first of all, the type of impact that Michael Jordan made on not only the NBA, but on sports, period.
Right.
But the teams that Mike played with, these people are only called great players because of their success with Michael Jordan.
Right. Michael Jordan never had these, their teams ended up being great teams, but because, like you said, because Mike, but because of Scottie and people that demanded, excellence out of these guys. You know, Horace Grant wasn't no slouch, but he would have been Horace Grant. You know what I mean?
Right.
He had success because they had success. He was a good player.
He's a good player.
He's a good, but you go Horace Grant and Luke Longley and these guys. You know, you got Rodman for the. He was a great player. You know, that second team might have been, had a little more star power because you had, kind of top 50 players. 3 top 50 players. People could argue that, but he never had these teams like.
Not like we've seen.
Like we've seen, like these guys, especially today. And the teams that LeBron had, can you imagine Mike not winning? If he just stayed in Miami 4 years with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, that they not winning every time?
They gonna win every time. Yeah. And I'm trying to find these stats, man, because somebody brought up to me that Mike is or LeBron is he scored more points than Mike now. He did. But in 150 more games.
He scored more points than probably. I think that may be more games than that. You're only talking about Michael Jordan only played like 14 full seasons, and he came back in that one season. When he came back off the baseball, after the All-Star game, right? The only one All-Star game that he didn't make. Michael probably only played somewhere close to, probably less than 1,100 NBA games.
Yeah,
but let me tell you, when people talk about, he got more points, it's because you played more years. You came out of high school at 19. Mike came out of college at 21, right?
21, 22, right up there. Exactly.
So he's 21. You
already got 3 years on him.
Exactly. And then Mike retired.
He retired twice.
Right?
Yeah.
So yes, in total, you'll have more points. But let's put all this in context.
Yes.
Right? Let's put this in context. Michael Jordan is a 10-time scoring champion.
10 times.
10 times.
10 times.
Right? LeBron James, how many scoring champions?
Maybe one. Right?
If we look it up, I think I'm right about this.
Yeah,
I think
one.
LeBron has one scoring title. Right? Michael Jordan averaged 30 points for his career. That's with the two garbage
years.
Washington Wizards, right?
Yeah.
But he averaged 30 points for his career.
Highest NBA average ever.
With 50% shooting.
It's right.
Right? It's
exactly.
not like, right?
Exactly, right? Yeah, 50% shooting and 30.1 points per game for his career. His playoff average for his career is 33.4. All-time career in both categories.
Right. You never see, and that's where like, people can talk about, kind of what these guys do on the court.
Yeah.
But if you just look at the stats, forget total points. What year?
Yeah.
What year can you say,
LeBron
had better years than
Michael
Jordan?
No.
Probably none. Look, Michael Jordan came into the league his rookie year. He's Rookie of the Year too, right? He got that award too.
Rookie of the Year.
Michael Jordan averaged, if I remember this correctly, Michael Jordan averaged like 28 points in his rookie year. He almost averaged 30.
Exactly.
Coming into the NBA. Right? LeBron wasn't no slouch coming into his rookie year. I think he probably averaged 20. You know what I'm saying? But he probably shot 40% from the field, something like that. Michael Jordan was ready. He was shooting over 50% from the field, 28 points per game, out the gate. His third year after
the foot
injury, right? The man averaged 37 points per game. Okay? In only his third year in the league.
Yeah.
Like I said, 10 times scoring champion. Now, a lot of these guys can score these days.
Yeah, they get buckets, yeah. We'll talk about James Harden in a minute, but yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
9-time all-defensive team.
9 times.
At 6'6", he won a defensive player of the year.
And MVP in the same year.
Right. I don't think LeBron ever had a defensive player of the year.
Not to my knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
He's probably made the all NBA defensive team probably like 6 times.
Yeah.
But Mike 9 times. When you look at the stats, okay, let's go. I think LeBron James because I was looking at this the other day, probably averaged 27 points for his career, like 27, 7, and 7. 7 rebounds.
Something like that.
Right? People always say, well, LeBron, all-around game, he even more assists than Mike, all this. Yeah, over time. But when you talk about averages, Michael Jordan averaged like over 5 assists a game.
Yeah. Five and rebounds. But the thing is, with that, Michael Jordan was an assassin.
Right.
So I remember, and I was younger then, and I can't remember if it was 87, 88, but right in the late 80s, maybe 86, anywhere from 86 to 88, right up in there, people were talking about that Michael Jordan was not an all-around player. In the last 10 games of the season, he averaged a triple-double.
Because Michael Jordan did whatever it took to win.
Yeah.
If he had to be a facilitator, he had to be
and
a facilitator.
And that's what he was trying to show them. Right. I can do this if I wanted to. I can go get a rebound. I can go get an assist. I can do this, but I don't have to do this. I'm a scorer, I'm a killer. And that's what Michael Jordan did. And I think a lot of these young cats, man, they just so caught up in the moment, and they seeing LeBron. And again, LeBron is a great, all-time great, like the all-time great player. But to me, Kobe Bryant displayed these same sort of approaches. Kobe Bryant was just 17, young, very arrogant, made a lot of mistakes on the way there. But if we're just talking about Kobe, if we put all three of these guys at their peak, when they were playing their best, it's Michael Jordan, it's Kobe Bean, and then you can put LeBron there. But
and I don't, like I said, I don't disagree with you, man. Number one, again, just by stat lines, Mike is the greatest. Then by eye test, right? But then when it all boiled down,
come on, man.
Why are they in the NBA? Why are you in the NBA?
Exactly.
Right? To win what?
Championship.
Okay.
That's why we compete. Oh. When you come over, if we're playing Scrabble, if we're playing these board games, if we're playing categories, we're playing to win.
So stats, a lot of people get stats in the league, man.
Yeah.
But when we talked about this earlier, though, but what type of impact do those stats have on your winning percentage? At the end of the day, right? You can put up some numbers here, there. Everything that Mike did translated into wins. It translated into championships.
Because that's all that mattered.
That's it. So Mike gonna do whatever it takes. So Mike got 6 championships. He never lost a final because he would die before he lost a final. If he got in the finals, he won.
He won. If he got there, he won.
If
he got there, it's like one period when Michael Jordan was 35 years old. I was looking at it now. I wish I should have kept up with these stats, man. But Michael Jordan, the last 4 players, check this out, to win a scoring title, regular season MVP, championship, finals MVP, and first team all defensive selection in the same year. The last 4 players to win, I'll say their names for you. 1991, Michael Jordan. 1992, Michael Jordan. 1996, Michael Jordan. 1998, Michael Jordan. No one else has ever done that.
Oh my God.
Those are the last 4 players. Unless it's like back in the day, Wilt and all those guys. But in this era, it's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, case closed.
Case closed.
Because again, it just comes down to, at the day, do you win a just like people talk about Golden State.
Yeah.
You win 73 games.
But exactly. So you win 73 games, you go 73-9, and they're calling you better than my Chicago Bulls of 72-10. You don't win a championship. None of that matters. You just won 73 games for nothing.
You gotta seal the deal.
You gotta seal the deal, bro.
On the Patriots, if you go undefeated the season, playoffs, and you lose the Super Bowl
to the New York Giants, it doesn't matter.
None of that. Everything you just did is a wash. People can remember that. They lost Super Bowl.
I'll tell you what, Ray. I haven't even thought about that team, even though I'm a huge Randy Moss guy.
Right.
I haven't thought about that team one more time since they lost to the Giants, because that's how I am. I want to see teams be great. Right. I was not rooting for the New York Giants.
Right.
I was rooting for the New England Patriots because I like to experience history. I like that.
Right. And they lost.
And they lost.
And I won some money.
Yeah.
I was rooting against them.
Yeah.
But and but it's like you said, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You gotta finish the deal. You gotta seal the deal. And Michael Jordan sealed the deal
every time.
Every time he was allowed the opportunity
in the NBA to seal the deal. He was, whenever he got to the championship, he won.
People talking about rebounds, assists, all of this stuff. Hey man, one year Michael Jordan averaged one year like 32, 8, and 8
for a season.
For an entire season.
In an era, not like an era now. And I want to spend a few minutes on now, but then when you couldn't play zone defenses,
right,
when guys can hand check you, when there wasn't a such thing as a flagrant 2 foul.
Right.
I saw a game where a guy get punched in his face and get a technical. He may not even get ejected. Right? So when you play in an era like that, and you can't give a guy credit for dominating in an era where I think in the late 80s and in the early 90s and through the 90s, I think that was the best basketball ever because they were the type of players that went through. And another thing before we move on is Michael Jordan won championships and he fought in playoff series against guys like Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, right? Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Reggie Miller, right? Karl Malone and John Stockton, Clyde Drexler. All these guys. And some of these guys, and Clyde got one. Clyde Drexler, did they even win a championship? They lost to the Pistons too, right?
I think so. Did Clyde even get one with Houston?
But he won one with Houston. Maybe he won one with Houston, but not because like when guys like that, when they get to those teams, you don't think about, because when you think about Clyde Drexler, because until you mentioned it, and I'm an NBA guy, it doesn't even occur to me that he played with Houston because in my mind he's a Portland Trailblazer.
Exactly.
And Michael Jordan stopped these guys from getting rings, right?
Any of these guys, man. That's why a lot of guys right now, really, they don't want to. They have to though.
They
don't want to give Mike that credit.
But they got to.
Mike, man, how they do Charles Barkley, man. I be feeling sorry for him.
Sometimes I do because he's a great player.
They one of the greatest players we ever saw. And that's
because of Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan's not playing in the NBA, Charles Barkley has a ring with Philadelphia and a ring with the Phoenix Suns.
With the Phoenix Suns.
He has that, bottom line. Yeah. But because Michael Jeffrey Jordan was in the NBA, and like you say, because of his winning mentality, right? Once they get over that hump against the Detroit Pistons, it's a wrap for everybody because they dominate the NBA. Every year he played a full season after that with the Chicago Bulls. They dominated the NBA.
Everybody got to bring the LeBron era. Everybody got a ring.
Everybody got a ring.
You know what I'm saying? So they won. Who did they beat? In the Miami.
In the Miami years,
OKC.
In the Miami years, they beat a very young OKC team who probably shouldn't have been there.
Right.
They beat them, and then who did they beat? They beat a great series against San Antonio.
Right.
A great series, and if Ray Allen doesn't hit that three, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's terrible because LeBron was tight in that game too.
Right. KD got 2 rings.
KD got 2 rings against LeBron.
Right. Did he game?
He gave.
Was he destroying LeBron?
Destroying LeBron James. Hey, listen, destroying LeBron James.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
He got rings, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many rings Tim Duncan got. 5. Okay. Did he beat him?
Yeah.
He beat LeBron twice, right?
Yeah. Got LeBron twice.
Dirk then beat LeBron. Everybody got to bring LeBron
here. The Dallas Mavericks beat LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. To the point where Chris Bosh was crying in the tunnel.
Because they was talking crazy.
Being
immature, and Dirk did what Dirk do.
I'm telling you. Another gamer. So the thing is, like, we grow up and you hear all the stories, and even now, like, I've never heard anybody say and I could be wrong because it could be said, if it's documented, who's ever listened to this podcast, holler at me, email me or whatever.
Right.
But I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, we playing LeBron tonight. You gotta be ready."
Actually, man, and I never thought about it that way. There's not you're probably right. Like, oh, LeBron.
When you hear, like, back in the day, you know Mike coming in town.
He was just the boogeyman.
He's the boogeyman. Like when Mike Tyson went in the ring, he was the boogeyman, right? You don't see that with Bron because Bron is everybody's friend.
Yeah, everybody's friend, laughing.
They
kicking it, man. He's super nice. He might pass them the ball. I don't know.
Because that's where it is with him.
Yeah, no, he doesn't strike any fear, in
anyone.
But that's, like I said, man. That's most, like I said, like Mike. He destroyed people. People couldn't get ran. They just couldn't do nothing, pretty much. Once he started winning championships.
That was it. Once he got that taste.
That was it.
That was a wrap.
One thing, before we move on and, again, looking at this and putting sort of LeBron's career in perspective when we had a sort of Kobe. So I'm a super Kobe fan.
Right, me too.
He's, one of the just most offensively gifted players,
that we've ever seen. Yeah.
He was a lot like Mike. He had that killer mentality. I think people, because Kobe been gone. And when did Kobe retire? 2 years ago?
So yeah.
It's not even that long, but I know he got hurt. But how do you forget, greatness, right? So Kobe was a great, great player. I think setting Michael Jordan aside, hey, nobody better than Michael Jordan. We just really had this debate, right?
Period.
Now, Kobe and LeBron, you might debate. Now they closer. You're coming out of, high school into the league. I think some people might argue, do you give LeBron the edge because, if you think stat wise, like. If I remember, like Kobe took a few years to mature.
Right, because Kobe came into the NBA in the 90s. Right, and so he went to a good Lakers team.
Mm.
So you playing with Shaq, you playing with Van Axel, Eddie Jones at the time.
Right.
These guys were already established. So Kobe was young. He was his mentality was different. So he was, in my opinion, sort of arrogant, into himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but on that team, there wasn't much asked of him early in his career.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron came into a team that was terrible, and LeBron James had a lot of intangibles and a lot of physical attributes that helped him be better, to get buckets easier. Kobe was 6'6", very talented, but incredibly lean. He took chances, bad shots, and so if you want to argue like consistency or from starting whatever, boom. But once Kobe Bryant found Kobe Bryant, I think it was maybe 1998. I watched him play a game against Michael Jordan in the United Center. I think Mike ended up with 39. Kobe might have had 35. They went at it that day because you know how much of a Michael Jordan fan I was. That day, I became a Kobe fan, and I told my brother, sitting right next to me, I told Frey right then, I said, this dude is getting ready to be a dog.
He up next.
He's up next. And he showed us. And he's probably, I think Kobe Bryant, that year he wasn't even starting one year and was voted onto the All-Star team. He wasn't even a starter.
But he was just, because he had, you could see, like, this kid was going to be great. He just took a minute. I heard somebody, making that argument. That's right. LeBron James, because of his physical gifts, and again, you can't question his basketball IQ. LeBron James is a smart basketball player. He knows. You know what I'm saying?
He knows, if you hear him break games down, and I can't emphasize this enough, that I love LeBron James. I think the way he plays basketball, the kind of locker room guy he is, I've never seen anybody, probably but Magic Johnson, have that kind of relationship with his teammates.
Right.
But what separated him and Magic is that Magic, in moments, he sees them.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Magic played with great teams, you remember when Kareem hurt his ankle and Magic had to start at center. Yeah. Magic, I can't even remember the numbers, but they were astronomical, and they won that game. He took big baskets, big shots at the end of games against the Celtics, right?
Right.
And so because that's who I think. I've always thought that LeBron was a Magic type player. Kobe was a Michael Jordan type player. So those comparisons should be that way but Magic still was a dog, a killer down the stretch of games.
Right. And that's who, and a lot of people have made that argument, that LeBron is more Magic. And I like that argument because, and you can still throw any of these guys, argue, who's the greatest player.
Right.
But if you look at positions, LeBron James is like a point guard.
Yeah.
He's not he's got the body of a forward, but he's got a game
like a point guard. Yeah.
Right? And he's got that Magic type game.
Yeah.
And he's unselfish, and he does look to pass, and he does look to, because he doesn't have, and that goes to that killer, mentality too.
Yeah.
A lot of times, point guards are looking to be floor generals, making the right play at time.
All the time. Right.
Shooting guards, why do you call them shooting guards? It's probably the reason why they call it that, right?
Right.
These guys, are, so Michael Jordan and Kobe were sort of your consummate, shooting guards, your two guards.
Typical shooting guard, killer. They're there, like James Harden is doing right now. They were their job, especially when Shaq left. But one can argue that Shaq and Kobe, because of their talent, one can argue that's the best 1-2 punch to play together.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? The Mike and Scotty thing, the Dwayne and LeBron thing, but because of Shaq's sheer dominance and the way Kobe Bryant dominated Western Conference playoffs during their runs, you have to put them up there. But I agree with you. Those Mike and Kobe were prototypical shooting guards. They were there to get buckets.
They had to get buckets.
Yeah, and LeBron James is there to facilitate. If you want to sit here and argue with me that he's the best floor general ever,
right.
Hey, you might not have no argument with me, but just stop telling me he's better than Michael Jordan and stop telling me he's better than Kobe.
Because he had production,
how many rings does he have?
LeBron?
Yeah.
3.
3 out of 9 times, right?
This dude been to the finals more times than I've ever seen anybody.
Outside of Jerry West, right?
People throw that argument in, like, how many times LeBron been in the finals? But like, okay, you didn't go to the finals and lose.
It doesn't matter.
Then
talk about Jerry West, because Jerry West went to the finals a lot too.
Right. So you won 3 out of 9. So you lost 66% of the time.
Of the times that you were in the championship.
Right.
Exactly.
You throw that. That's even a worse argument to make. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't even want to talk about how to talk about it because I don't want to bring that up. Yeah. Because that's foolish. You won, right? 30% of the time that 33% of the time that he's been.
I in my brief coaching career, all years that I coached basketball, I went to the championship.
Right.
Coaching basketball, because that's why I was there. And the time that I lost the championship, I called my worst season ever. I don't even mention that.
Right, because you
I was in the championship, but we lost.
Right, because you used to win the championship.
You get used to winning.
Yeah.
So with that, because we have to leave it alone, because we have to watch basketball for what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we just watch it for what it is. And for what it is now, James Harden is averaging 38.7 points a game.
I watched this dude, man, and I know I was asking you this too, man. I don't know what's going on, but I watched this dude, man, and he is Like
you can't stop
him. And he fun. He just so fun to watch. It's like whatever.
All the swag.
He got all the swag. He do it with confidence. And the thing is, he shoot a lot of threes and step up. Yeah, he hit him.
He hits them.
But don't let him get. Man, the man go put you in the mix. He go to the cup on you. He gonna get fouled.
Man,
he
this
gonna
guy,
hit his free throws.
What was the night before? Let me see. I think I got it up here, but like, he had such a terrible night the other night. But I think he still ended up with 50 points. He shot 24 free throws and hit every last one.
And had a terrible shooting night.
A terrible shooting night, bro.
I don't know. Like it almost seemed like if dude go to the bucket and the refs just blow the whistle, man. Every time.
But he's so crafty, right? So over the last year, 2018 he averaged 30. Then last year 36. This year he's averaging almost 39 points a game. He's making 10 field goals. He's making almost 5 threes a game. I mean, he's shooting 14 of them, but he's making 5 threes a game. So then I watched the game, and I was watching the game with my wife because she doesn't like him because the way he gets free throws. Because, I mean, he's crafty enough that he hooks guys going to he hooks them himself, and he gets the call. I mean, but what he's doing, he's playing the rules of the game, and he's getting the basket.
That's being a smart basketball.
That's being a smart basketball player. I don't know what Houston's record is right now. I'm gonna check. Right now the Houston Rockets are 14-7 with he and Russell. Russell Westbrook the same night shot 9 for 30 from the field.
That's it.
See, and I think he had a triple double, but bro, 9 for 30.
That is ridiculous, and that's the thing with like some of these cats. Like even with James Harden. Now James Harden, is putting up like sort of these ungodly numbers that a lot of numbers that we haven't seen scoring wise since like Michael Jordan.
Since Mike,
right? Mike. I don't
or more recently Kobe.
Or more recently Kobe. But I think, when you talk about that 36 points a game, I think that was probably the most maybe since Mike.
Yeah, because Kobe averaged 35. And Kobe was the highest since Mike did the 37 thing.
Right.
And so him scoring 30 points, and then it's like the mentality of his coach, the way they play. They shoot fast, they move, or whatever. But comparing him to Luka Doncic, he's now must-watch television.
Oh, man.
Luka.
Kid, man.
Luka's averaging 30, 9, and 10.
Right. Now, the thing, and going back to James Harden for just a second, he tends to have, some tremendous regular seasons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happens in the playoffs.
In the postseason,
that's what you got.
And that's what I'm saying. That's where like when people talk to me about like greatest players of all time, guys like James Harden don't come to my mind.
Right.
I would just say like, man, this guy can get a bucket, because you think about a guy like Adrian Dantley in the 80s, he could score among the best of them.
Right.
But you don't think about Adrian Dantley as one of the greatest players of all time.
Right.
You just know he can get a bucket.
Yeah,
he's barely mentioned there. So I like James Harden with because of this era with the social media and everything happening right now, he's gonna be mentioned amongst the greats. But hey, without that hardware, and like you say, without that postseason production,
right? You gotta have that postseason. But it's so fun to watch it.
It's really fun to watch.
It's really crazy, like the numbers. So you got James Harden, and like you said, you just mentioned Luka. Now this kid, for me, is like more of a story than like James Harden.
Absolutely.
With his size, with what he
can do with the basketball, and the thing is, Ray, he looks super comfortable, right? Like it's like last year, but last year, he had just come out of the playoffs in Europe, and he had been playing all that time or whatever. But this season, it looked like he rested. He got in the gym, did some things because now he's much watched television and his team. I don't know. Let me see what their record is, but I don't know if they're gonna win a championship, but they're 15-6.
That's what I'm saying. Now but hey, man, if he playing like this for the next 7, he could win some championships.
Because when you watched him in Europe, the way at his age, how he put probably one of the best teams in Europe basketball on his shoulders and win a championship as an 18-year-old kid, I think he was.
Right.
19-year-old kid.
Right.
He lives for the moment. So he's ready. So that's a kid, barring injury. A kid like that, they're going to be tough. But before we close out, let's make some predictions early. NBA. So who's coming out of the East for you? If you had to pick right now.
If I got to pick right now, Milwaukee Bucks. Because when we talk about these players, Giannis,
you can't stop him.
Now he's shooting 3.
Yeah.
And at the clip he's shooting, he's shooting the 3 he's just coming over half court, a few steps. I saw him pull up. He was a couple feet behind 3 points.
He's another one of those
just
physical freaks.
He just pulled up, and I'm like, dang, he doing that now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What can you do now?
You can't do nothing. So the only thing with Giannis is what I hope he has, because he has to do that, because in the playoffs last year, that became his nemesis, because when he was trying to go to the rim, all dudes did was just collapse on him. So he's going to have, so hopefully, and I think he is, because I think he's progressing as a player.
Right.
Because I agree with you. I think that the Bucks are going to come out of the East, because I think Philadelphia is going to miss, even though I'm not a Jimmy Butler fan, they're going to miss Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, because Jimmy Butler is the one guy that was on that team that when a game slowed down, you can count on for a basket. Like, you gave Tobias Harris $25,000 million. And I've never seen Tobias Harris, and I don't watch him much.
Right.
But he doesn't strike, he doesn't come to mind when I think about a guy that can isolate
and just get
a bucket down the stretch of a tough playoff game.
Nor is he a defensive player.
And he's not like Jimmy. So
Butler.
They're gonna miss Jimmy. Like, Miami is doing way better early than I thought, because they're getting a lot out of this kid, Kendrick Nunn.
Right.
The kid from here, from Simeon.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot out of him. Jimmy's playing well, surprising me early, but we'll see how it goes down the stretch.
Right.
And now in the West, I will say this: when I watched LeBron and the Lakers play the Clippers, I will say early, I was like, oh man, the Clippers may get them. But now that LeBron James and they got everybody healthy, if the Lakers stay healthy, they're going to be tough to beat in the series, especially when LeBron James, as we stated much earlier in the podcast, is a front runner. If guys are playing well like that, you got a guy like Anthony Davis, who's right now early in the season, a quarter away, is the defensive player of the year in my mind right now. And the way he's being like offensive, he's who we thought he was.
Right.
And if all of these guys keep contributing, the Lakers are going to be tough to beat in the playoffs.
They only got 3 losses, right?
They're 19-3.
Okay, so I had the same observation when I first saw, when they played the Clippers, and they lost the Lakers. I said, you know what? It's kind of, because a lot of people, they've been picking the Clippers, right? The Clippers got a better team, right? Because they were looking at the Clippers from last year, looking at that bench, right? They got, they're a deeper team.
And then they add 2 pretty all-stars.
And then you add Kawhi. And then at the time, I don't even know, was in that first game, did Paul George even play?
No, Paul just playing. He just
stopped playing. So you add him, right? And he came out, I don't know what he averaged, but every time I see it, he's like, he scored 30. He's killing it. But in watching them after that, and just how they're having, how much fun the Lakers are having right now. And what makes, you said this earlier, what makes LeBron extremely dangerous
Right.
It's when he having fun, when he can be a front runner, when
be
he
a
got
front
other
runner.
people on his team.
That's hooping, and you got a guy who can be the bad guy. You got a Rajon Rondo.
Right.
You got Dwight Howard, guys who can take the pressure off him in that way. But then you got a killer like Anthony Davis.
All I need to do is hoop and be
That's
myself.
it. Be myself and throw the ball around. He about to kill. So that's what gives them the edge. Now, I will say, since Paul George and Kawhi have been playing together, they're like 9-1. So
that's scary.
Yeah, that's scary. So, but the Lakers are 9-1 last 10 games. The Mavericks are 9-1 in their last 10 games, and the Clippers are 9-1 in their last 10 games. So those three are probably going to battle. But the only reason I give right now the Lakers the edge is because you said because LeBron James is supposed to be the most dominant player in the NBA, and when he has his when he's playing like you say, like this loose and this much fun, he's a tough team. He's a tough guy to beat, especially with the championship experience, with the playoff experience. Like because if you get the Clippers and the Lakers, just say for instance they end up 1-2, because right now the Nuggets are there, but I don't think the Nuggets are going to be there at the end.
Right.
Let's just say the Clippers and the Lakers are 1-2, they're in the conference championship, just hypothetically.
Right.
I'm picking the Lakers. If the Lakers are healthy, I'm picking them only because the only person with that type of depth in playoffs is Kawhi.
Right.
And he's the only one. So, but on the Lakers, you have LeBron, you have Rajon Rondo, you have Danny Green. All of these guys who have been in the finals a lot. You have even Dwight Howard's been to the NBA finals.
Right.
As a leader of a team.
They did a tremendous job. You talk about when they first they picked up AD. And you could what the rest of their team?
Exactly.
But they put a nice team together real quick. Because all they had was Kyle Kuzma.
Kuzma
left.
That's all they had left.
And
they had to build a team.
And they did a great job building a team. Now their team is still not as deep as the Clippers, but still, as much as I love Kawhi and Paul George, if you ask me which duo I'm taking, it's LeBron and AD.
And hands down, LeBron and AD, and then if you get anything out of Kyle Kuzma, if you get anything out of him toward his potential 2 years ago, and then if Danny Green is shooting the ball,
right?
Rajon Rondo in there for whatever, because now he can spell LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And these guys are playing. Caldwell Pope. You got guys, and I agree. The Clippers are deeper. But that experience and LeBron James being happy and feeling good and loose, they're gonna be tough. And then with the criticism of him not making the playoffs last year, he's motivated. If no one is injured, now it may change. Different podcasts, you may be talking about something different. Right. But the first quarter of the NBA season right now,
LeBron getting number 4 this year.
Yeah,
because even we just talking about who going.
Yeah.
They beat Milwaukee. It's Milwaukee.
They beat them.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have.
They beat them. They don't have the personnel. They don't have the experience. They don't have the coaching.
Right.
I think. And I'm picking Milwaukee because they just seem like the team to be there. But in those playoffs, there's something in the back of my mind with Brogdon not being there and them not having a real good point guard. That's scary.
They can fit because you do. You know what I mean? You got Philly, and Philly's still
they still they're still a good team.
I just don't trust Joel Embiid.
I don't either. But I don't. Joel Embiid can play. But in the playoffs, you need that one guy that when the game slows all the way down, that can get a basket. Right? You need a James Harden. You need like an Anthony Davis, because it's not LeBron. You need an Anthony Davis that can get a bucket. You know what I'm saying? A Kawhi Leonard that can get a bucket. And a Paul George. You know, James Harden. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe Russ can get get something out of him. You know what I mean? But Russ has historically ruined other things because he wants to be the guy down the stretch. He's the reason KD left Oklahoma.
Hey, Houston, it was a bad year to get Russ because the Lakers got Anthony Davis. Bottom line.
Bottom line.
Houston, you were right back in the same position you was when you was trying to battle Golden State.
You're right back there because the Los Angeles Lakers, like I said, nobody gets hurt.
No, I'm discounting them. Fun to watch. Hey, Houston, great. James Harden, great player. I love to watch you, man. Y'all not winning no church.
No doubt.
Thank you for listening to our opinions on the Stropinion Podcast.